In episode 1 of this video series, we talked about the goal for the Chicago Marathon this year. We also outlined the first 4 weeks of the training block. And then as we moved into episode 2, we worked through the second 4 weeks of the training block and discussed various types of shoes that I'm using throughout the training, from the daily trainers to the speed intervals to the track work to what shoe I'm planning on running on race day. As we move into block 3, this episode is titled Unknown Territories, partially due to the fact that I'm climbing into the 80 miles a week mark, which is an area that I've never been in any of the 6 marathons I've ran. So it's been a learning experience. And so in this episode, we plan on outlining the third week or the third training block of this marathon training. And we're also going to go through some nutrition that I've been taking in as far as daily calories and macros as it relates to protein, carbohydrates, and fat. So as we move into this third block, the weekly training schedule has changed a little bit from the standpoint of most days I'm doing double efforts. Monday through Thursdays, I'm doing 2 efforts, once in the morning and once in the evening. And Friday, I have a morning effort with rest in the afternoon, mainly to prep for the long run on Saturday morning. Saturday PM, rest, and then Sunday, a double effort where I'm running some easy miles in the morning and then doing track intervals in the afternoon. So when looking at this schedule, Mondays, still doing my runner's reset strength effort in the morning with anywhere from 3 to 4 miles. And then Monday afternoon, easy mileage. Then as we move into Tuesdays, still double tempo efforts. However, these tempo efforts are a little bit more challenging because we're adding some intensity, and I'll talk about that as we break down the weekly training each week for the block. And then as we move into Wednesday, we're doing some easy miles in the morning, easy miles in the afternoon. Thursdays, easy miles with the High Rocks workout, and then easy miles in the PM. And then Friday, around 8 miles easy in the morning, trying to knock those miles out early so I can have the rest of the day to recover and prep for the long run. Long run on Saturday morning, and then Sunday easy miles, and Sunday PM track effort where we're doing interval work.
Here it comes! Yeah! Woo! Follow that guy!
So when we break down the 4-week training block, week 1, I ended up with 76.49 miles on the week. And Monday was a mile and a half warm up with the runner's reset, and then a mile and a half cool down in the AM, and then in the PM was 5 miles easy. Tuesday was double tempo day, where I had 15 minutes total. 12 minutes of those 15 minutes were at a 6 to 6:05 pace, and I had 3 minutes fast finish, which was a target of around 3:25 or 5:25 to 5:30. And once I finished that interval, then I would get 6 minutes of rest, and I would then have to repeat the entire thing with 1 mile warm up, 1 mile cool down. This was a pretty difficult workout, but ended up pushing through it. I struggled hitting some of the paces on some of the days, but it really challenged me mentally to stick with it and don't stop and keep pushing. So I did this workout in the morning and then recovered throughout the day and repeated the workout that afternoon after work. On Wednesdays, I did Well, the first week we had some vacation plans, so we ended up going to Splashway. So I ended up doing all 8 of my miles easy on Wednesday morning. I had to move some things around because we were coming back on Saturday from Splashway, so I ended up moving my long run to Friday. So Thursday was 10 miles easy. Friday, I ended up doing my long run, which was a total of 17 miles, 12 easy, and then 5 at half marathon pace. Did have to stop a couple times just due to the heat and humidity. But those long runs have been pretty challenging with the half marathon pace incorporated in. And then as we move into Saturday, we ended up coming back, so I didn't have anything that morning. And then in the afternoon, I did 8 miles easy. And then Sunday morning, 4 miles easy with a track workout in the afternoon. And that track workout was 10 by 400 meter intervals. The goal was to try and set a pace and stick to the pace, which was really nice to be able to work out and do that effort with a group of guys that have been challenging me there at the track. Week 2, I ended up with 80.9 miles. This was the most miles I've ever ran in a week. And so the week looked like this. It was 4 miles easy in the morning, 2 was a warm-up, then a runner's reset, and then 2 as a cool down. And then I had 5 miles in the afternoon, easy. On Tuesday was double tempo day, similar workout to the previous week. However, we added 3 additional minutes to the workout. So instead of running 12 minutes at a 6 to 6:05 pace, we ended up doing 15 minutes at a 6 to 6:05 pace with a 3-minute fast finish. Again, trying to target that 5:25 to 5:30. So that was times 2 in the AM, and then repeat that same workout in the afternoon. On Wednesday, 5 miles easy in the morning and 3 miles easy in the afternoon. Thursday, AM, 4 miles easy with the High Rocks workout. And then in the afternoon, 6 miles easy after work. Friday was 8 miles easy in the morning to allow myself some rest in the afternoon and get prepped for the long run on Saturday. Long run on Saturday was 18 miles, 12 miles easy, and 6 miles at half marathon pace. And Sunday was 4 miles easy, and then a track workout in the afternoon with 10 by 400 meters. As I moved into peak week, week 3 of this third block in the marathon training for Chicago, ended up finishing out at 83.23 miles on the week. Again, the most miles I've ever ran in 1 week's time. So this kind of correlates back to the title of this episode, unknown territories. Overall, the bodies felt great. Really focused on recovery and nutrition to make sure that with these increased volumes, I'm able to keep up with the effort that's required on my hard days and taking those easy days as easy as possible, considering it's 95 to 100 degrees outside. So on Monday, I had 4 miles easy, 2-mile warm up with runner's reset and a 2-mile cool down. And then in the afternoon, 6 miles easy. Tuesday was double tempo day again. Similar workout compared to the last 2 weeks, except we were doing a total of 20 minutes. So in this case, it was 17 minutes at tempo, so 6 to 6:05, with a 3-minute fast finish target of 5:25 to 5:30. Do that twice in the morning and then do the same workout twice in the afternoon. Overall, this was a confidence booster. I felt decent throughout the whole workout, and I hit most of the paces except from that last real push, but I was able to get faster in the fast finish, and I think that's what the goal was, to really push there towards the end of those intervals. So it didn't quite hit my paces, but I was able to push faster after running so much volume on the day, and I'll show those splits here on the screen. As we move into Wednesday, we had 5 miles easy in the morning, 3 miles easy in the afternoon. Thursday, ended up not doing the high rocks just due to the volume, decided to focus on the easy effort. So I ended up doing 6 miles easy in the morning, 4 miles easy in the afternoon. Friday morning, I ended up doing 8 miles easy and then allowed myself some rest in the afternoon to get prepped for the long run. The long run on Saturday was 18 miles again, but in this long run, it was 11 easy and 7 at half marathon pace. Ended up having to stop once or twice, but overall ended up hitting the target paces. We move into Sunday, was 4 miles easy in the morning and 8 400-meter repeats in the afternoon. Overall, this was a very successful week in the build, and my confidence after this week has risen to an all-time high. Looking forward to seeing how I do in the half marathon here in a couple weeks. Week 4, recovery week. This week I ended up with 77.5 miles, so about 6 miles less than what I did the previous week. And that week looked like this: 3 miles easy in the morning, so 1.5 warm up with runner's reset, 1.5 cool down. And then in the afternoon, 5 miles easy. Tuesday was tempo run, or tempo, I call Tempo Tuesday, so double tempo days. Same workout from week 1, so a total of 15 minutes with 3 minutes fast finish times 2, once in the AM, once in the PM. On Wednesday, 5 miles easy in the morning, 3 miles easy in the afternoon. Thursday, 5 miles easy in the morning with high rocks workout. We did end up going to Splashway that weekend, so most of the miles Thursday afternoon on all the way till Sunday were done at the water park. So 5 miles easy in the afternoon, and then on Friday 8 miles easy. Saturday was my long run, so 17 miles, 12 easy with 5 at race pace, half marathon race pace. And then Sunday was 4 miles easy. Before we left the water park, drove home, unpacked, went to the track, and the track workout was a little different. We started introducing compromised running. So we increased the intervals. So instead of doing 400 meters, we increased 800 meters. So that workout was 3 rounds. You start with an 800 meter run, you do 1 up and down bleachers, and then 40 yards of burpee broad jumps, 40 yards of lunges, and then do another 800 meter interval. And so whatever that time was to finish the whole thing, basically you took that full time and cut it in half. That was your rest. So we did that for 3 rounds. So a little bit different running at the track, but ended up doing pretty good with it.
Meal prepping for peak week. We're gonna make some barbecue chicken here. Got me some barbecue sauce with a little bit of seasoning that I'll do, and I'll bake this chicken in the oven about 350 for about 30 to 45 minutes. I'm gonna cut up some potatoes here and steam those along with my broccoli and carrots. Then typically use like a salt-free vegetable seasoning on top of those. And this will make about 6 to 7 meals for the week. Also, what I'll be doing is hard boiling some eggs. I usually do about 2 hard-boiled eggs in the morning with a bagel with some cream cheese on top. So that's what we got going this Sunday afternoon, just trying to get ready for peak week next week. Okay, the first step is that we would tenderize the chicken. Get it nice and tender. And once we finish tenderizing, we'll put a little bit of this chupacabra seasoning on there. On both sides. And then those go into the pan. And then we'll follow that up with our Kentucky bourbon barbecue sauce from HEB. And then I got my eggs going over here for breakfast. Hard boiling about 14 eggs for the week. And then once the eggs finish boiling, we will go in and start steaming our vegetables and our potatoes. Okay, we got our chicken all seasoned up. You can tell I used 2 different barbecue sauces here. One I ended up going with Kraft, and then also used that HEB Kentucky bourbon barbecue sauce. So what I'll do now is I'll wrap these up in foil, and we'll get those put in the oven at 350 for about 40 minutes or so. We'll check the internal temp and make sure everything's cooked thoroughly, and then we'll take it out and get ready to prep it for the week. Okay, so we're gonna cut up these potatoes into small little pieces. And then we're gonna cut up the broccoli. Small chunks here. And we'll take and dump the potatoes in the pot. Dump the broccoli in the pot. After we put some seasoning on there. Just on one side, and then we'll leave the other side for the carrots. These are baby carrots. And we'll season up the broccoli and the carrots on top of the potatoes. And those will steam for about 20 minutes or so. All right, got the eggs all boiled up. What I'll do here now is I go through and I'll dry them really well, and then I'll put them back into the carton, and I will mark these with a boiled bead on there, so that way I kind of know throughout the week which eggs are cooked and which ones are raw. So I'll do 2 of these every morning for breakfast along with a bagel, and I'll go through that here shortly once I start getting lunch ready for tomorrow. Okay, so the chicken is out of the oven now. It's been cooling for about 10 minutes. And so we're gonna take it out and we're gonna cut this up into small pieces, little strips, if you will. And then as we finish cutting, we'll take this and we'll stick the chicken back into the sauce. And then once it's set in the sauce for a bit, we will actually start making our lunches for the week. All right, once I get the chicken done and the potatoes and broccoli and carrots, I portioned it out into these containers here, and I'll have lunch for the next 6 days. I don't weigh anything out or anything like that, just kind of do it off of feel. But this way I'm getting my protein, my carbohydrates, and my veggies for the day for lunches. And then I'll also go through like some of the different things that I take for snacks and whatnot for lunch throughout the day. So just to walk through kind of daily caloric intake and some of the different things that I'm eating over the course of the day. For breakfast, this is typically after the workout. I'll go through some of the different things that I do pre-workout and post-workout. But once I get to work, typically I'm having a whole wheat bagel with 2 hard-boiled eggs. The bagel I put cream cheese on, and I'll have these Welch's fruit gummy snacks, and then some orange juice. That container is about half full orange juice. And that's typically around 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock-ish. And then around 10 o'clock, I have a snack. Typically it'll be a banana. And I've really liked these oats overnight. They're really quick and easy, and a very nice little snack around 10 o'clock. And then around noon, I'll have my lunch, which you've seen me prepare, along with an apple. And then shortly after that, probably around 1 o'clock or 1:30, I'll have this beef jerky snack. Really, when I first started tracking my macros, I found I wasn't meeting my protein requirements. And so by incorporating the beef jerky into my daily regimen, this has really helped with that. So that's about a half of that pack there, half that package of beef jerky that I take, and have that around 1 o'clock. And then around 3 o'clock, I'll have VPN electrolyte drink with a nice cool snack. Typically cantaloupe is my go-to. And then around 4:30 in the afternoon, I'll have this protein-packed oatmeal by Kodiak. And that's just kind of a snack that, depending on how I'm feeling, I try and eat it. In some cases, I may not eat it for the day. It just depends on how the days went as far as me taking in all this food over the course of this time. Usually if I'm eating the cantaloupe and the electrolytes earlier, let's say it's right around 2 o'clock, 2:30, then around 4:30 I will eat the oatmeal. But if I take the electrolytes and the cantaloupe around 3 or 3:30, then that kind of throws off the scheduling of the oatmeal. So and then usually I had an afternoon workout, and then after the afternoon workout I'll eat my dinner for the day. But that's a typical day, trying to eat for my current training load and training for Chicago.
As I mentioned, I used to track my macros. That's kind of where I found I wasn't meeting my protein. And so for a period of time, I went through using the MyFitnessPal and tracked that, and ended up making some adjustments to my diet. So here on the screen, I wanted to kind of just show you from July 15th, the date that I had one of my double tempo sessions, kind of an idea of, where most of the caloric intake is coming from, and then also break out kind of my macros that I'm hitting on a daily basis. So when looking at this, about 50%, 52% of the total caloric intake is coming from what I am calling snacks. Those are all of my pre-workouts, my post-workout supplements, things like my recovery drink, my protein that I'm taking after the efforts, things like the banana that you've seen in the previous clip, the cantaloupe that you've seen in the previous clip. A lot of those things fall under snacks. And then when you break it out by breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it's pretty equal. So the rest of the percentage is about 15% for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's kind of where the total calories are coming from. So on Tuesday, July 15th, I had a goal of 4,000 calories and ended up taking in 4,331 calories on that particular day. I will say that it is a challenge to get down that much food. It does get tiring just kind of keeping up with that piece, but it's a necessity that's needed in order to keep up with the output from a volume standpoint. So when you take that and break it down on the macro side of things, I'm trying to target about a 60% carbohydrate intake, So on this particular day, I was right around a 53% or 579 grams of carbs. Fat, I was a little over. The goal is 15%. I came in at 23% or 110 grams of fat. And then on the protein side of things, I was pretty close to my number with a 25% goal. I came in at 24%, taking in 268 grams of protein. So I think this is a good snapshot daily, kind of what I'm taking in as far as calories and macros. But it's a bare necessity when it comes down to keeping track of all this stuff when you start getting into these large volume weeks. If not, you're just gonna burn out and not be able to keep up with the volume.
Long run this morning, so I wanted to talk a little bit about my fueling strategy on these long runs, as well as what I'll do before race day. So typically I'll have a piece of toast with peanut butter and honey. I'll also eat a banana. With that, I'll have the Morton Drink Mix 160, and then the BPN G1M Plus, which has carbohydrates, electrolytes, some nootropics for focus, as well as some caffeine. And when you add all the carbs up, it ends up being like 124 grams of carbs prior to my long run. So as everyone pretty much knows, carbohydrates are the key to fueling for these long runs. And if you're not fueling early and not fueling often, you're increasing your chances of hitting the wall. So especially with this heat out there today, just want to make sure I have enough calories and enough carbohydrates to get me through this long run that'll take me about 2 hours and 15 minutes or so.
As we finish up this third training block in preparation for the 2025 Chicago Marathon, I start to shift my focus to the Goodyear Half Marathon I have signed up for on August 9th in Akron, Ohio. This episode that we're going through right now is kind of an outline of the training and some other things that I'm trying to keep track of as I move through the training. In the next episode, I plan on outlining the half marathon, talking a little bit about my race strategy, going through the splits, talking a little bit about how it went, and then diving into some of the changes that I may end up making for Chicago in October. So looking forward to that, and the next time you'll see me, I would have ran the half marathon, and hoping that everything goes well, and the weather for sure is tolerable, and I don't take this Houston weather with me to Ohio. So we'll talk soon, and thank you.